Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Cannabis Tech Talks. You are chopping it up with myself, Chuck Warner. I'm the editor in chief here. We also have our managing editor, Andrew Ward, and we're excited to bring one of our favorite funny men. This guy has been, let's see, he hosted Emerge. We actually went and saw him at the Vale Comedy Festival. This guy, he is all around. He hosted the MJs. This guy is absolutely on fire in the world of comedy, and we're excited to have Mike Glazer to discuss everything that's been happening in comedy, talk a little bit about cannabis, and welcome to Cannabis Tech Talks, Mike.
I'm so stoked to be here. And also hearing you say all of that, like, I feel like I've been working really hard on momentum. And I feel like I have momentum right now. And to have gotten the email from y'all and been like, hey, would you want to do this? I was like, yo, the momentum is real. Like, it's real. Let's go. I'm in. So thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much. And yeah, a lot of people don't know. We were just talking about it, but during the pandemic, we had the Emerge Virtual Cannabis Conference, which was a pretty aggressively involved virtual event. I think we had like three stages, 72 speakers. Like it went over, 3 days. It was a lot of work. And we were so glad to have you and Mary Jane. You guys hosted, and then just recently you hosted the MJs.
Yeah.
So I got to ask you, is it a lot harder hosting a like a live in person event than a virtual one?
Yeah, because I like knowing that I'm crushing on stage and I can't hear virtual AI avatars laugh. Like I need to see them touching their belly and moving back and forth or something to know that I'm doing my job. So when I do, like even doing stand up in front of, I just did a show here in Los Angeles at a dispensary and the room was hazy. It was hazy. And so you can tell everyone's having a good time because they're blinking and they're nodding and they're enjoying it, but it's all on the inside of the brain, right? Like I need them to be laughing. I need them to be out loud with their enjoyment. But I know everyone's having a good time. I just need that feedback loop of, I say something, they laugh, and then we continue to do that until the end of the show.
Yeah, and by the way, the MJ's was a bang up production. That was the first of its kind, for the cannabis industry to do some kind of a, basically like a red carpet award show, and I really felt like it went over pretty darn good. Like, were you feeling that? Were you feeling the vibe from the audience?
Yeah, yeah. I would also say that anything that we dreamed up, they said yes to, and then fully supported it, whether it's a huge thing on a screen or lighting or sound cues, like having the kind of support from not only an event, but the cannabis community as a whole to be able to make something that like not only was received really well, but was like imagined and been like, there's no way that they're going to say yes to this. And then everyone was like, oh, hell yeah, that sounds amazing. So like, that's the kind of community that I think weed is at its best, is like full support. You say yes to each other, you lift each other up, and then you can create something that everyone's still talking about, 6 months later. And that's why I love this world.
I think that you're definitely not afraid to try new things, Mike. Like it seems like taking chances and doing first time events or going out on a limb seems to be something that you're pretty comfortable with.
I especially right now in stand up, there's a lot of I do a show at the Comedy Store once a month called Glazer's After Party where I'm giving away weed, mushrooms. We're throwing a party. It's an amazing time. I've had people drive in from 4 hours away for it and they do not leave disappointed. But I'll tell you what, performing on mushrooms, I would say is a pretty big swing. Performing like dabbed out is a pretty big swing. And I have a pretty high hit percentage, but oh boy, every single time is unique and it's different. So you got to see, it's like you got to be present because you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and I was wondering, like, you just came off of the Netflix as a joke festival. You got a show coming off of that as well. How does that stack up? Are you going? Are you taking big swings there? Are you playing more to your comfort and what's been tried and true for you going into a show like that? How did those shows prepare? Was it more of the same or a little bit different for you?
Oh man, This is actually going to be a testament to you, Chuck, because you are you hustle. I see you networking on Twitter. I see you on LinkedIn. I see you at events, like putting yourself out there in a very extroverted way that I am not that kind of dude. I like to stand in the corner and observe. And I see you go out there. Like when we were at the MJ's, we were at that outdoor party, Renee Baca's party, I think his name is, Ricardo
Yeah.
Baca's party. And you came up, you put your arm around, and you were like, "What's up, dude?" And I was like, "Chuck." Like I was so excited to see you. And so I have taken that into the stand-up world and tried to be more extroverted. I got Netflix as a joke fest through LinkedIn. I heard about the fest happening and I said, okay, what would Chuck do? And I typed into the search bar, Netflix is a joke festival, people, and then it showed up all these people. And I DM'd 50 to 100 people saying, I would love to be involved. I would love to audition. How can I be involved in this festival? Here's a couple credits. Thank you for your consideration. And one dude, Josh Sandoval, got back to me and he said, email this person and let's see if we can get you an audition. I got an audition and then I followed up with a thank you. And then after that thank you, I said, I'd love to be a part of this. How can I be? And he was like, honestly, would you want to do a Netflix is a Joke presents Mike Glazer? And I was like, yo, let's go. Let's go. And so, I put a bunch of other great comics on the lineup. And then I went on tour for 3 weeks with my friends Billy Anderson and Carmen Morales, and we did the Gateway tour. And Billy created the Gateway show. First half of the show, we're sober, intermission, get dabbed out, perform stoned. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to take a big swing. I have 3 weeks to create a new half hour of material for Netflix as a Joke presents. I had just done my first special, Life Rules. I'm proud of it, but I want to do new stuff. And so 3 weeks, I hammered out a new half hour, got to Netflix as a Joke festival, sold it out, did a new half hour, crushed it. And now Josh Sandoval just reached out to me because he's going to start booking a new club. And he's like, we'd love for you to host at our new club. So, putting yourself out there and taking those big swings, it's so important. It's so important.
Man, I love to hear that.
It's yeah. And Andrew, I mean, I kind of feel the same way about you, right? I mean, you write for, all kinds of very prestigious publications. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like when you're constantly doing work and more importantly, like bringing value, like, hey man, how can I contribute to this? Or how can I do something like that? I feel like, the universe is kind of receptive to that, especially when you're bringing value. You're just like, hey man, is there some way I can help out? Some way I can help make this just a little bit better. I think that it definitely does open up a lot of doors. And yeah, Mike, man, been seeing you just left and right. Same thing, dude. On Twitter, on all that stuff. But to me, Netflix is a joke was really kind of like almost like a coming out party because that was so big and there were so many names involved with it. And really, Netflix crushed that. Like the way that they sort of changed their format and they were doing live stuff and they were doing, a lot of comedy. And I heard as well that there was a lot of for the roast of Tom Brady, like there were not a lot of rules. They just let him go. And so I got to give some props there to Netflix as well for taking some chances.
100%. I mean, two things come to mind. One is the festival took over Los Angeles for 2+ weeks. And I was looking all over the place for my name. And I saw my name with all these other stand-up luminaries, Seth Rogen, Sebastian, Seinfeld. And I saw my name right next to Netflix as a Joke Fest. And I was like, ooh, I'm going to have to vandalize this as soon as the fest is over. And so at midnight, the very last night of the festival at midnight, I drove my car over to where my name was with an X-Acto knife. And I'm taking an X-Acto knife. Hold on, I'll show it to you. I'm over here vandalizing. Wait, where can I do it? There you go.
There we go.
Do I get closer? Further away?
Yeah. I think get that blue screen.
Yeah, vandalizing Netflix property just so I can have a keepsake. So sorry, Netflix, but also, what are you going to do about it? Too bad. And then also, so a huge festival called Just for Laughs, which always happens every year in Montreal, they went bankrupt. They completely folded. So Netflix said, yo, let's take this opportunity to plant our flag in comedy, and now they're the biggest, you know, not only streaming service but live event, everything in the game. So to be a part of this is massive, and hopefully it puts me on the map to do more work with them in the future, because I'm going to drop my Netflix special. The first half of it I'm going to drop, maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll time it out with when this drops and do it all synchronicity. Let's do that.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
let's coordinate.
Yeah, let's coordinate.
Love it, man. Yeah, and I also gotta just shout you out, Mike, too, because what you were talking about, not being the extroverted person. I'm with you on that. I actually see hearing about Chuck. I think that's a whole different game. We did an interview a couple of months ago about introvert survival guide for weed, and I actually have my fidget thing here after the advice you gave on there. So
Wait, I have my little rock.
Oh, nice. There we go. Yeah, dude. Mike, I got to shout you out for the fidgets as well as the idea of microdosing, man. Those have been some great ideas. And I think, that kind of, I don't think I could ever get to Chuck's level, but I do like that with microdosing and stuff like that. I feel like I can get to that. So major shout out to you for giving me those tips.
Yeah, I think it has not only helped my stand-up career, but my personal relationships too. Being able to microdose, whether it's capsules or just like stems and caps or a piece of chocolate, like once a week or so, just to clean out the hardware, has been incredibly beneficial. I'll also tell you what, I'm taking more dabs than I've ever taken in my life, but there's something about where dabs are right now and the Puffcos together, I get more clear-headed. I get more calm. I don't get this like anxiety high that sometimes I get with flower or edibles. There's something about dabs right now that I don't know what happened with them, but I'm more clear-headed when I take one than ever before.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I can definitely relate to that, man. There's been I've joked about it, but like medical dabs is definitely a real thing. I feel like there's a lot of beneficial effects in that high dose, especially like certain extraction techniques. Maybe just like maybe highlighting certain cannabinoids or taking out certain things. I don't know. Maybe that's one of the things behind the success.
It feels clean. Like super clean. You know what I mean? Like you don't have that kind of murky, foggy like you do sometimes with just flour. And I'm not a big dabber at all, but the same thing, right? I feel like super elevated, but just everything is just crisp. Like I don't know. I wonder if that's what all people feel, but it definitely is a whole other experience.
Yeah, there should be some kind of like company that comes out with something called like 4K, because that's really how I feel. Is like everything's in 4K, you know?
Puffco is going to take that as their next device that comes out now.
Yeah. Roger's been so good to me. He can have it. He can have whatever he wants, man.
Another dude on the cover too, man.
Yeah. Shout out 100%. To Roger. So Mike, speaking of which, so you've got, man, you've been touring everywhere. Netflix is a joke. Been hosting a bunch of stuff. You have been a very hardworking man. But one thing that I think a lot of people didn't know or didn't realize is you have a real passion. And right now it is, I consider the best playoffs in all of sports, but it's the hockey playoffs. And a lot of people might not know, fun fact, you have a gold medal.
I do. I have a gold medal with Team USA as the #1 goalie in the country, training at the Olympic training centers for roller hockey. Ta-da! Like, come on, man. It's cool. I'm very proud to have been the #1 roller hockey goalie in the country. I'm very proud to have won a gold medal, worn the Team USA colors on my chest, skated around the rink holding an American flag. But every time I talk to an NHL player about roller hockey, they're kind of like, oh, yeah, good for you, pal. Great job. I was talking to Mark Messier at the NHL Awards, and I was like, I kind of got a gold medal myself. And he goes, yeah, bet you do. Okay, pal. Like, okay. But I'm proud of it, man. Like,
hell yeah.
Why not? I know it's like not. Here's two things about it. One is I'm very proud to have represented our country, won a gold medal, trained at the Olympic Training Center. It didn't become a Summer Olympic sport. The Olympic Committee took mixed doubles badminton over roller hockey, which I'll always have a problem with. I wouldn't mind, asking how many people in America love mixed doubles badminton. I think there's a higher percentage of roller hockey fans out there, but they chose what they chose. Um, but secondly, like after that, I had major hip surgery after that gold medal game. And so it was one of those moments where I went as far as I could as a roller hockey goalie and then had my hip popped out and it shaved and I had staples down my leg and some real major surgery. So it was kind of that perfect storm of accomplishing something that was a dream come true since I was a child and then retiring with that gold medal in my hand that I'll always be grateful for.
Damn, that's
going out on
gnarly.
top.
Yeah, gnarly way to end it too, man.
Well, like as a little kid, I collected the sports page during the Winter and Summer Olympics. Every single day, it would be like day one Olympics, and I collected all the sports pages, and I had them stacked up in my childhood bedroom as a kid playing roller hockey, wanting to be an Olympian one day. So I got as close as I could, and I'll never forget like sitting in my room, cross-legged on the floor, quietly reading the Olympic sports updates every single day. So, it was a childhood dream come true.
That's awesome, man. And what would you say would be like that equivalent in like your comedy career?
Uh, I bet people would think I would want to be like doing arenas like Kevin Hart and Tom and Bert Kreischer. Honestly, man, my dream in in comedy is to have a Netflix special, sell out theaters all over the world, and then be able to treat all my friends to Michelin star meals where we take Ubers everywhere for the rest of our lives. That's all I want.
Hell yeah, man. That's awesome.
I want to go to like I'm going to Chicago soon to do a taping for OnlyFans comedy. They have comedy now. And I'm taping a special for OnlyFans. And while we're there, I would love to do a Michelin star meal with like all my homies, pick up the check, bottles all night, let's keep the wine flowing, and then get everybody home in Uber XLs. That'd be the dream.
Oh man, that sounds amazing. And have you have you been big on the infused shows and stuff? I know out in LA too, they've got a lot of great chefs and infused weed chefs. Have been going to a lot of things like that.
I have, but I'll tell you what, man, I love infused food. I think I'm more of a pairing guy. I think when you're pairing like different flower flavors or different dab flavors with really good food, I'm more interested in that because then I can not only control my dosage and control my high, but I can clean every single plate without 4 hours later wondering why I'm still watching the end credits to Dune 2 and I haven't started the movie over, Like
Yeah, those edibles can always sneak up on you, man. I feel like they either hit me at all, not at all, or just it's an overwhelming dosage, like 9 out of 10 times now.
100%. So yeah, I'm all about a pairing. Like it's the same way I feel about like no, like I'd rather just eat delicious food made by some amazing chef and be able. I'll tell a story real quick because I know we're all friends with him. I went to John Capetta's birthday party at Benihana. And so we're all at Benihana, and the chef is, flipping the eggs and making the fried rice and throwing chicken in everybody's mouth. But more times than not, Capetta and Fidel and everyone are watching the show from outside, smoking weed and looking through the window. And I was like, that's my kind of infused meal where you can go to the smoking section, come back in, eat your fried rice, and then go back out and hit another blunt. So I'm all about that life.
Hell yeah, man. I'm all for that. Like we gotta get these regulations, or at least just the underground, just roll that out. I think that's a great way to go about it.
Well, I just saw something passed about more cannabis cafes possibly being available. Maybe it's across the country. I should do more looking into it. But we have a great cannabis cafe here, and I'm hoping that it survives just to show that the business model works.
It's so bizarre. Like I'm in Denver right now, and we were one of the first, the pioneers. We were one of the cool states, when it came to weed and stuff like that. We still don't even have a consumption lounge. There's like one place that like had a license, but I think deep down inside they don't want them to work, or they've got some kind of beef with them because you would think that there would be more of those, like a place where you could go and get infused food, even just a place where you could go smoke in public in a pretty progressive place like Denver doesn't even exist. So yeah, I guess we still got some work to do.
I guess so. I mean, it seems like the crazy thing is that more people than ever get high, whether it's edibles, dabs, whatever it is, like a 5 milligram Terramint, like whatever low dose you're into, nanotech. It seems like more people than ever are using it medicinally and recreationally and doing it without regard for federal law and just being like, guys, we all know this isn't a big deal. So I don't understand why federally everyone isn't like, yeah, nobody cares on either side. So let's just bust these floodgates wide open and get it going.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it's such a mess of a process. I mean, you could blame it on so many different things, but really I just think it's like people that don't want to see us succeed and also are not very good at making laws around it, even if they do want it to succeed. And that just has created a perfect storm of just like Denver, New York, LA, like none of them getting off the ground. I think, what is it? Nevada, maybe one other place has got it kind of maybe getting off the ground so far. That's about it. Like of all the things that we haven't learned from cannabis regulation, lounges definitely are one of the things they have learned like the least of over time.
Totally. Like Kamala Harris put out a tweet sometime recently that said like nobody should be in jail for nonviolent cannabis offenses. And then every tweet was like, you put those people in there. What are you talking about?
I think it's gonna be great when we because I was just in Florida last week and they are going bananas. They've got a referendum on the ballot to have rec in Florida. So what do you think, Mike? Are we ready for Florida man, gators, hurricanes, and freaking legal recreational weed? Like Ron DeSantis is fighting it. He's like, it's gonna make our city smell bad. I'm like, bro, you're in a swamp, bro. It's like it's gonna be okay, man. Are we ready for Florida to go full tilt boogie with weed?
If I'm remembering correctly, there was a drug called Croc that was directly in Florida where like human beings were eating other human beings' faces. I don't know that we're gonna like it's Schedule 3. I think the difference between being on a drug that makes you a cannibal and being on a plant that makes you enjoy Furiosa a bit more is not equatable. What are we talking about?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah, Florida's a mess, man. Even if that thing does get through, and I think it's like you got to have like a crazy high threshold to like have the vote when like you got to have like a 60% like approval rating or something like that for the vote.
They'll put their fingers on the scale. Like I have a feeling, even if
they're going to Florida
come
no matter
out,
what,
they're going to be like, oh wait, and try to throw some kibosh on it or something like that. But that would be a huge market. Like I think somebody said like $9 billion. You got the tourists, it's a big state, it's a wacky state, but it definitely would maybe set a trend for, I don't know, maybe some other southern states coming to smoke some weed.
Absolutely. I mean, even if we just got like Miami on board, and then everything can blossom from out of Miami where there's tons of culture and music and art, like start there and let it go outwards. I do think it's interesting how our federal government seems to have washed their hands of a lot of responsibility and been like state level, state level, state level, and giving the state the power to kind of like build the infrastructure and foundation that they want. I guess it's good and bad. Like if you live in a state where you have your rights being taken away, you can't get legal cannabis, like all of that is a problem. But it does seem like more and more states are getting on board with some kind of democracy and some kind of like, social caretaking. I don't know what the word would be. Like there, it seems like, at a state level, the people are able to vote and say what they want their state to be like, their city to be like. And so maybe we can change things from the inside out instead of the outside in.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope
You're against it?
I'm sorry. I
You
want
don't
to be an
believe it?
optimist. I've just seen too many states just butcher this stuff so much that like
Yeah, but
I
like
hope
every state's going to learn from the next, right? Like you've got to
yeah.
my understanding is Colorado has been a shit show for a really long time, but they were also one of the first. So you got to like
Mhm.
learn from Colorado's mistakes and do your own thing better. But you're a cynic.
I hate to say it, man. After being in the New York market for the last 3 or so years, like literally lawmakers were like, we learned from other states. We learned from other states. We learned from other states. And it's literally like Sideshow Bob with the rakes. It's just like one into the other, one into the other, like every time. And like eventually at one point, it was like maybe about a year ago when like the writing was clearly on the wall and people were like, all right, maybe we just look at Minnesota and see if they're going to get it right this time. It's just like on to the next one. But no, I do think there is some learning to it, but also it goes back to what I was saying. Like I think a lot of regulators just either don't want to see it succeed or just aren't all that great at getting the right laws passed through it. And sometimes we see improvement, but sometimes we don't.
Okay, so then if I can put you on the spot at a state level, not a federal level, but at a state level, what would be your kind of utopian big picture things that would make sense to you? Like just like fully rec for an entire state and small businesses having a chance to thrive, but like is that the kind of areas that you think are the most important at a state level?
That, and I think you also got to incorporate home grow into any fair law. I think if you want to call it a success, yeah, I definitely want to see it federally, but home grow, I'd say people getting out of jail, home grow, and then, small business success opportunity, allowing the state to make money as well as, there are going to be big brands that come in too. So you got to allow them to play. But like, creating that level, equitable playing field that we claimed it to be would be an ideal. Which, hey, if Florida can do it, I will tip my hat to Ron DeSantis, which I don't think will happen. But hey, if it does, man, hey, that would be awesome to see.
Come on, Florida's due for a win. This is it. This is what they're going to get correct. I'm telling you.
You
All
just
right, man, I like
you
it.
just gave me a visualization of Meet the Press with weed. Like, like brought to you by Truly, right? This is Meet the Press, and where they sit down and they talk with these newsmakers, but with weed.
Yeah. I
This
love that
would
because it
make
won't be on the mainstream, so we can speak our minds. I'm all about it.
right.
Can we call it Meet the Rosin Press so we can do dabs during the show?
There you go.
Dude, we're getting there. We're getting
All
there.
right.
And the word press is kind of just dripping a little bit. Yeah, yeah. I'm into it.
All right. We're running with this.
We did good there. Hey, I was going to ask you, Mike, since you've been, all over the place, didn't you go to, didn't you go to the UK, Europe? I mean, you've been touring everywhere. What do you hear from the people? You're a man of the people. You're talking to them. You're chopping it up and stuff. Maybe before the shows, stuff like that. Does everybody feel the same way about weed everywhere, or is it kind of like different? In different places, is everybody pro weed? Are there, just kind of what are some takeaways you have from the different opinions? Because you've been in a lot of different places, talking to a lot of people, obviously about weed, and what are some of the takeaways that you've seen?
Yeah. When I was running my first special Life Rules in Edinburgh for 30 nights in a row to get it ready to record back here in LA, there was no weed in Edinburgh at all. It's a hard drinking town. So it's pints and fights. That was it. And so then as soon as I was done with Edinburgh, I went to Amsterdam for the first time. And it's so regular there. It's not even a thing to talk about. Like you might see tourists who feel like, oh, we're going into a place to get some mushrooms and some weed, and we're nervous. We don't know much about it. And the beautiful thing about that was how educated everyone behind the counter in Amsterdam was. They had their talking points. They would ask you what you're into, what your mood is, what you're looking for, and truly steer you in the right direction to give you a great experience. And the mushrooms that I bought there, they're called truffles. And I'm not sure what the difference is between a mushroom and a truffle, but I will say I was like, I'm looking for something energetic so that I can go to a museum and look at art and pet a stray cat and go get some food. Like I want to have a life. And they're like, this is what you want. And then they rolled up a joint, and everything about it was very casual, very not a big deal, and very, very educated. And that was such a welcome thing, especially as a tourist. Like I might have a little bit more knowledge than a couple from Georgia who is here to try it for the first time, but there was no judgment and everybody was there to like get you where you wanted to be so that your experience was what you wanted it to be. It was beautiful.
That's
That's
nice.
awesome.
Yeah, and I think that I think like coming back to Los Angeles, where I feel like entertainment, culture, and cannabis all have this beautiful intersection where I'd love to spend more time in New York because I see how it's all there. I'll tell you what, man, Los Angeles has like the comedy scene here is incredible. The way that the comedy scene is linked to the cannabis scene, which is linked to the food scene, which is linked to the art scene. Like it is a blossoming place. And it feels underground and it feels kind of like if you know, you know. But the more people that know, the better this community has been. And it's just been an awesome year for all of those places to intersect and hang out and get to know each other. It's been beautiful.
And I was just gonna to follow up with that. What do you have to say about celebrities getting caught with weed traveling? I
What are
just
you
saw
doing?
like I
What are you
I think
doing?
Nicki Minaj. Yeah, like what kind of amateur
In
hour is
Amsterdam.
this? If you're getting caught with weed, do you not have a person you can reach out to that can hook you up when you get there? I'm sure, Mike, you could make 3 calls anywhere that you're going, and you're probably gonna have a person. So I don't know, man. I just every time I see people traveling and getting busted with weed, I'm like, who is their advisor? Who is who's advising these people?
Oh man, unreal. I guess um do I want to tell this story? I'll tell this story, but I'm going to leave other names out of it. That way and I'll just make it about myself, okay?
Reasonable.
Reasonable, because I don't want to, I don't wear wires. I ain't no narc. I'll die with secrets before I let them out. So, traveling from Washington to Vancouver to do a stand-up show, and at the border, and the border dude is like, "Do you have any plants? No. Do you have any fruits? No. What are you doing here? Here for work? Just chopping it up for a day, coming back tonight." And he's like, "Great, sounds good. Why don't you pull over?" We pull over, and we're like, "What's going on?" I thought like, and it's like, "Oh no, we search every single car that's going across the Canadian border. Like weed is legal in Washington and weed is legal in Vancouver, but federally, because the US is illegal federally, we check every single car crossing this Vancouver border." And so they went into our car, found a vape, found some joints, and the border patrol agent, the Canadian one, comes back and is like, "What is all this?" And we're like, nah, come on, and he's like, literally all you had to do was be honest or go buy weed in Vancouver where you're heading to. Like, literally, what are you doing? Why are you making this so difficult? Now I've got to fill out all this paperwork. I've got to burn all of this product, and you're going to have to fill out a bunch of stuff. Like, we're not going to arrest you. This isn't a worthwhile offense. You're not moving weight. But dude, why are you making your life and my life even harder by trying to like not support our local economy? Like, take a hike, guys. And so we had to sit in the border offices for like an hour. And luckily the hockey game was on, so I got to watch the Edmonton Oilers play. That was okay. But overall, it was such a lesson in like, yeah, what are you doing? Just go support the local economy, make those 3 or 4 phone calls, and move on with your life. Quit trying to like sneak around when it's easily attainable?
That's a
Oh,
journey, man. Yeah, I'm glad to hear you didn't get detained anything further than that, though, man. That's pretty gnarly.
it was scary, but it was also like I don't know. I don't want to speak for border agents and why they made the choices they made. I will say I'll speak for myself and say it was an easily avoidable situation. And I think you only get one of those chances in life to not mess it up again. You get like God gives you one of those. After that, best of luck to you. You're on your own.
I remember a few years before that, I was going into Toronto and we got pulled in there and we had our windows down and my friend just repeatedly kept yelling, "We don't have a bomb." And that was, one of my moments. So it's like, oh yeah, it seems like at least, the weed stuff is better received than that.
What happened to you? You can't leave.
We stayed around for a little while, but thankfully they just realized my friend was an idiot. He also tried to say a bong was a vase, so I think they just realized that he wasn't the brightest of the bunch, and they kind of let us go after that.
Yeah. Nightmare. Nightmare.
At least if you're going to deal with that, I feel like Canada would be kind of like the border patrol you want to deal with because, like you said, they let you watch hockey, they bring you some poutine. You know what I mean? Like, there's some borders you're not going to want to be in that situation.
Heck no. Heck no. I mean, don't be in that situation ever, honestly. Like, even I don't even drive high. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like, for
yeah.
real. Like, I will Uber, I will scooter, I will walk. I'm done driving stoned. I don't even want to deal with that anymore. We live in a place where the technology is that, one day I'm going to have a self-driving Tesla, and then I'll be rolling up and smoking a blunt with the windows down, listening to like some Lil Baby. But until then, I'm not behind the wheel.
Yeah, man, I'm right with you there. I drive around New Jersey on the Garden State Parkway and the Long Island Expressway, man. And like some people say you get better driver as you're high, but like I feel like I need to be fully sober for that. And then as soon as I get out of the car, I'll smoke a joint and like decompress. But like I can't be anything but on my sharpest. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's not even for me as much as it's like the dumb people around me. Like it's not like I don't see the dude who just got off work that has a Bud Light tall boy between his knees driving down the 101. And I'm like, I got to be sharp. Old boy is not with it right now, you know?
Well, hey man, one thing I actually did see though that you did, you might not drive high or anything, but you get a lot of stuff on the road. I saw you said you got so much mushrooms you didn't know what to do with it on your last tour. Is that right?
Shout out to my fans. Thank you so much. You know me so well.
Is that what
Yeah.
led to the hot dog on Memorial Day? I was checking out your video about being blessed by a street hot dog. Was it?
Yeah. Man, sometimes side quests are beautiful, huh? We
Yeah.
were like, I've been so fortunate in the past year or so to like not only tour the country with friends, film a special, sell out a Netflix Fest show, have a new special coming out. But as my fan base has grown, so has the generosity between my fans and myself, where like, I might have some like really great flower that I just want to share with people. So I'll give that away. People will bring me things. And recently, after my Comedy Store show, somebody handed me a bunch of mushrooms. And so I was like, great, like I got nothing to do the next 2 days. I'll eat those now, stay up till 6 in the morning if that's what, life has in store for me. And as they kicked in, I was walking down the street and it was Thursday, the Thursday before Memorial Weekend. And I saw a hot dog on the ground, almost like our mayor was hiding hot dogs instead of Easter eggs for like some kind of like citywide search where like one of them would be a golden hot dog and you would get $100 from the city. Like it was so fun. And so, I saw this hot dog on the ground. I felt like that was like a side quest completed. I had ordered a pizza to be delivered to my place as I got home. The pizza arrived as I turned the corner to my place, where then I saw a chair outside and it was like shaped like a throne and it was all ornate. And I was like, well, I got to carry this chair home. And so, I'm carrying a chair up my stairs, tripping pretty hard, getting inside. And it just felt like one of those nights where I just kept saying yes to life. And even though on paper, seeing a loose hot dog, eating a pizza, and carrying a chair is not that exciting, when you put all those things together on mushrooms, it's a beautiful night.
Absolutely, man. I love that.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you got to say yes to life. And sometimes that just means, being aware and not being on your phone. I don't know.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and especially shout out to mushrooms and other psychedelics for making it better. I remember one time I went to take a microdose to a wrestling show that featured like kaiju wrestling monsters, and it was turned out to be a macrodose, and it was like, all right, we're leading in. And the first match I saw was a guy called Hell Monkey go against a tinfoil baked potato, and that was the start of a great night.
Amazing. Amazing. My favorite thing to do right now, it's a joke on my Instagram that blew up. Like even Travis Kelsey faved it because it's about Taylor Swift, which means Taylor Swift saw it. But I'm an AMC A-lister, and I took mushrooms and got really high and went to see a movie. And the only movie at that time was The Exorcist, and it messed me up so bad. And so I snuck into another movie, and it was Taylor Swift's Eras movie. And then I just like danced with all these strangers all night long. And the punchline of the joke is like, it was awesome to see Barbie and Oppenheimer and Barbenheimer for sure. But if you ever see another movie combo, it should absolutely be X or Swift because that will change your life. And that's just a moment where I said yes, and then the thing on my Instagram went viral, and Travis Kelce was like, "This is awesome!" Like little things, little things.
Lean into the good shit.
Lean into the good shit. I think that's the other part about weed that I'm like actively excited for. Like there's so many problems on a small scale and a big scale at all times. But if we can find those like beautiful moments of human connection, whether it's through a stand-up show or seeing a movie or a hot dog on the street, and like make that a part of what's also important, that is what I'm actively searching for every single day.
Love that, man.
I also I like the name of your comedy special was Life Rules, and it was kind of a little double entendre.
Yeah, I even got a tattoo of it to like commemorate when we hit 50,000 views. Because I mean, look, I tried to sneak across the border with weed, and I was fortunate enough. Like I've made some mistakes. Like I need to have some life rules. I need some discipline in my life. I've made a bunch of messed up mistakes in my life. So let's get some life rules. But also, life rules. Life is amazing. Life is such a gift. And every single day you can make the most out of it. So yeah, it is a double entendre because life rules and life rules.
And it's such a great way to think about things, just mental health wise. You know what I mean? I think sometimes, we get so caught up in our personal, day-to-day lives and stuff like that. We forget that there's really that connection with everybody out there, and that everybody else is going through things, and everybody else has, stuff. I find it kind of refreshing, when people come out and talk about mental health, and I just feel like, Life Rules is kind of a cool way, sort of a segue to kind of talk about that and to make it okay, especially for men. I think that a lot of times we just take and just shove things down there and just go, go, go. But you've been somebody who's been very candid and been willing to talk about that kind of stuff. I think that's really, really cool, because the more that we kind of normalize just talking about, how we feel and mental health and stuff, I think it's just better for everybody.
It is better for everybody. I think like I've thought a lot about this. This might be a little long, but hopefully it makes sense. I go to therapy with my guy Peter Tuesdays at noon. Also sometimes Peter on Fridays at 9. It depends on the week I'm having. And being able to speak candidly with him has helped me understand who I am, which helps me on stage to be the most vulnerable, honest, funny person I can be. And I think there's this really cool parallel track in comedy right now where for every roast of Tom Brady and great joke writing that tears down celebrity and political culture the way it should in this like roasting fashion, there's also this track of male and female, like of comedians who are vulnerable and honest on stage, and it comes from a deep, real place. Like Neil Brennan is my favorite comedian of all time, and that dude, every single special, whether it's 3 mics or blocks or his new one, Crazy Good, it's from his heart, and it's about him trying to like get a grip on his own brain and his own emotions or lack of emotions. And there's such a real connection I feel on stage when I get to talk about those things. And then people come up to me afterwards and share their stories with me. And, it might not be punchline, 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 punchline all the way through, but it's true and it's genuine. And I think sometimes that's equally as entertaining, as effective as just going up there and telling, joke, 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 joke without any kind of emotion behind it. So the more I dig deeper into who I am, the better my comedy is, and the more I'm getting out of it every single night. Also with that, I will say, in addition to Peter Tuesdays at noon, Not drinking has been awesome. I think I'm coming up on 6 months of that. And I'm in a couple of secret groups that you can talk about or not talk about, but I'm super into those secret groups and they're the shit. I don't want to put them on blast, but I will say that they've been life changing. So there's like, there's there's help out there for everybody as long as you're honest with yourself and you put yourself out there and have some life rules. You got to have that discipline, dog. And then all of a sudden your life gets better and better and better. So, yeah, and then all things can filter through that. It's really cool.
That's amazing. That's so good. Speaking of life rules, I feel like they're putting the red light on, over here, and they're saying, "Hey, man, you guys got to freaking wrap it up. We're getting ready to." Yeah, exactly, dude. We do what we want. Um, where can people check you out? Where can people see you? This is a great opportunity for give some little outros of where people can see you either on stage or check out your comedy online because I'm sure they're going to want to see and see more of you.
Okay. My Instagram is at Glazer Boo Hoo Hoo. I'm currently putting out a lot of comedy that I really believe in and is funny. And I'm also getting yelled at and being called a cuck and a soy boy by a lot of strangers who have private accounts and zero followers and zero posts. I don't know what that's about, but get involved over there. I'm about to drop something about the Taco Bell cheesy gordita crunch. So if you want to hear about my how I feel like it's a sham and they misnamed it, please go to my Instagram. I'm dropping hot takes about Taco Bell right now. My YouTube is where Life Rules is. And then I would love to coordinate to drop my Netflix Presents special with this. So go to my YouTube at Mike Glazer to check out my Netflix special. My Netflix is a joke special and my first special, Life Rules. And then I'm touring. I'm in Chicago for this OnlyFans thing. I've got a bunch more dates coming up. So, if you want to come out for those, please let me know. I'll bring you some gifts. You can bring me some gifts. And then I've got a show once a month at the Comedy Store called Glazer's After Party. That is a dream come true to not only do, but to be a part of what I consider to be the best club in the country. So, yeah. And
Amazing.
I'll tell you what, man, Chuck, knowing you for I don't even know how many years now, 6 years maybe, and to see like how our trajectories have like just like climb to today is it's freaking beautiful, man. I'm like so stoked for us, and I don't even know what the future holds, but it's so exciting. It's so exciting.
I'm excited too, man. I really feel like, some of the past years, they've been a bit of a grind, they've been tough. I mean, for me personally, I would say last year was maybe like one of my like just not the best years. But when you, like you said, life rules, man. You just kind of keep putting one foot forward, just kind of keep moving in the same direction. And if you can lift up a couple people along the way, they'll be there to lift you up. And it seems like good things happen. So, man, I really appreciate you. It's great to have you here. Andrew, thanks so much for joining the Cannabis and Tech Today team. We're excited to have you here and bring your rock star status to what we do. And yeah, man, let's freaking let's meet up somewhere. Let's go get together and smoke something or eat some shroomies or something like that at an event. And I look forward to seeing you guys both in person. Yeah, exactly. I look forward to seeing you guys both.
How about Art Basel in Florida when weed's legal there?
Let's do it.
I'll meet up in Florida.
Done.
Done.
Done. That's how things happen. Done. Just like that.
Love it.
And just like that, folks, we have to wrap this up here. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Cannabis Tech Talks. You were chopping it up with Chuck, with Andrew, and of course, Mike Glazer. And again, folks, I'm telling you right now, he is funny as hell. So go give him a follow, bring him some weed, bring him some mushrooms, go to some of his shows. He's a hoot, and make sure that you follow along with his journey. You will not be disappointed. And for everybody else, make sure you hit the like, hit the subscribe, send this to your grandma, your dog, whatever. Hope you enjoyed this, and we'll see you on the next episode of Cannabis Tech Talks.